Hello, listeners, and welcome to another episode of All in Our Business Podcast, the show where we discuss hot and controversial relationship topics while sharing our love journey along the way. I'm your host, TC.
And I'm your girl, Kiki.
And we got another hot episode for you, but let's get to these shout-outs real quick. Who you shouting out or shooting out tonight?
We're not going to shoot out anybody. We are shouting out Mama Roz, of course. We want to say thank you so much for always tuning in and providing us with feedback on how useful the podcast has been to you and also to your marriage. So we love you and we thank you so very much for the endless support.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you. You is my favorite podcast listener.
Shh, don't tell nobody.
Okay. All right, so as we say, today's topic is a hot one. So I'm sure... Oh, gosh. Thank you, baby. He's on one today, so buckle up, y'all, and be prepared. It's going to be a show. Anyway, so if anyone has been following social media or the entertainment world, you would have seen most recently the hot topic has been Cardi B moving on in a new relationship with her boo thing.
Stefan Diggs.
Yes.
He turned.
Oh, Lord. So you right now. He on your side, you on his side.
I'm on his side. I'm on team Stefan Diggs, baby.
Okay, and I'm on team Cardi B.
So we're on the same team.
We're on the same team.
We just ain't on Offset team.
Okay. No.
Whatever.
So anyway, in the news.
Oh, my bad.
That's enough. Anyway,
go ahead, babe. I'm sorry.
So the news has had everyone and their mama talking about it. So we thought it would just be appropriate for us to talk about on this show today. Moving on. All right, so before we get into the latest tea and have this discussion, hit us with the scripture, babe.
Okay, the scripture for this week is John 14:27. I am leaving you with a gift, peace of mind and heart. And the peace I give is a gift the world cannot give. So don't be troubled or afraid.
Now, why would you say that's so appropriate for our topic on moving on?
I think when you decide to move on from whether it's a divorce or you lost a loved one, you have to be at peace with it. Nobody else can do anything for you. They can, you shouldn't be in a relationship already. You should still be grieving. No, you can't tell me where I should be at. Mm-hmm. You don't know what I got to deal with on a daily basis to deal with what I had to deal with. Mm-hmm. Whether it be a divorce or whatever else, so you can't tell me anything. If I'm at peace with it, I'm at peace.
Facts.
And I'm not going to be worried about nothing or troubled by anything that you can say or do or anybody's opinion. Mm-hmm.
So you need to be at peace from the opinions of other people.
You have to, because if you don't, you'll let them bother you. Mm-hmm. They'll say, people don't have coof sometimes. They'll just say what they feel.
Right. Or maybe they still have it, but they just feel as if it's their opinion and it's what they think that they would do, so they want to interject that into you or on you.
Well, that's where my peace is coming in. I'm not. I'm good. I'm good with my decision of when I decide to move on or how I want to decide to move on. Nobody can tell me anything.
Right. All right, well, let's get on to our topic today. So some of the backstory that we had, I think a lot of people probably know the story because it's public. Cardi B, of course, was married to Offset probably for a handful of years, and out of their marriage, or even probably before their marriage, they had children. Mm-hmm. So they both, shared, I think, 3 children. And I think throughout the marriage, he was cheating, and she eventually got fed up, basically, bottom line. Not for sure if they're divorced now or whatever.
They've, broken up, left each other, and then, he did whatever he had to do to get back in, and then did the same stuff he was doing before.
Oh, so he did? They reconcile?
They've broken up several times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And,
so this final time
too. It's been out there on social media, so they've broken up a couple of times, and then he's maybe bought her a car or something and said, "Baby, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do it again." And I guess this was the last straw for her.
Okay, so she finally decided to go ahead and move on.
Go home.
Move on. There you go. Move right on. Okay, so as a result of that, now we're seeing
the backlash.
Yes. And
that she has another man and he don't like it.
He don't like that. Right. So what is he mad about? The fact that she moved on? The fact that she's happy? The fact, like, what is it?
It's probably a combination of all of that. It's mainly his pride. He felt he could keep doing what he was doing and keep getting her back. That's literally how he probably felt.
Right.
And she just gonna keep falling for him, keep doing it again. So in a lot of relationships, that's what happened. The man might be,
Or the person that's doing wrong.
whoever's doing wrong. They know what that person, will accept, and they'll just keep going back to that. Not trying anything different. I'm just gonna go sing a song to her and buy her something, and she'll let me back in. Or him, I just gotta take him somewhere and show him that I still care, and he'll let me back in.
Let me back in, right? And especially if there's been a pattern of that
Yes.
previously, right? So they're under the expectation that
This
I've
works.
done this before.
I
Yeah,
can
this
do
is
it again.
effective. I can keep doing it. Not realize that you still hurt people,
Right.
And although that person may say, okay, we are married, someone try to take you back this first time, or even the second time. Okay, now like you walking on thin ice,
Right.
and then the third time it's
Third
like,
and fourth and fifth. And
yeah, nah, I'm
some point
gonna.
in time, you just gotta cut that rope.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud of anyone, woman or man, if they decide to choose themselves, because that's a difficult position to be
Definitely
in.
is.
When you're with someone and things just are not going right, and or you're not happy, or whatever the case may be, and you have to ultimately decide to move on, because that can be a tough decision.
And then on top of that, the hardest part is when you do release that person or let that person go or move on from that person. As we talked about earlier, residuals or baggage, you take that into the next relationship.
You do.
And it's hard to let that go.
Absolutely.
Because that person might be still trying to contact you, still trying to get back in your good graces, and you're with another person. And that other person's like, what's going on? I thought it was, we good.
Right.
But you still entertaining your ex. And that can cause an issue.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why you have to have boundaries. Well, also, if you're still entertaining, you shouldn't be entertaining an ex unless you all still have some type of connection or something that you still have to, work through. Example, children, businesses, something of that nature. But if those things are no longer there should no longer be a connection. There's nothing else that we need to have a conversation about. And even when you do, and we'll talk about it later in the podcast today, but even when you do have those connections, there are proper ways to be able to manage that,
As we
right?
spoke before, there's boundaries that need to be put in place for even that.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
That ex can't have access to you like they used to.
Yeah.
Because you're no longer.
Theirs.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because if not, you might as well just still be there.
Might as well stay there.
Yeah. So why is it that the person who did wrong in a relationship gets mad and upset when you decide to move on? Is it a form of control? I know you talk about pride.
I think for men, it's definitely a pride thing. It's a pride and ego thing.
So you understand that you did the woman wrong. I'm just talking as a man, right? You did the woman wrong. You cheated on her multiple times because for whatever reason. And then she decides to say, okay, I'm not going to take this anymore and I'm moving on, I'm leaving. And you're okay with that she leaves. But when she finds a new person.
No. That's the thing. You're not okay with her leaving.
Oh, okay.
Because you feel, and it's sort of a little bit of control to you, always feel like that's yours.
Oh, wow.
And I'm just speaking on how men think. Men are territorial. Men are hunters. So if they think they hunted and got something, that's theirs. They don't think it should be given away.
No matter how badly they mistreated.
No matter. Let me just say this. For some individuals, no matter how badly they treat you, they feel they didn't do anything wrong.
So they're delusional.
They are delusional too. So it's a combination of everything.
Right.
And I'm just speaking for men. You would have to speak on how women, because women kind of handle it a little bit different. But for men, they can be with that woman, cheat on her. She finally decides to get enough courage to leave, and he feels like, oh no, you still mine.
Wow.
And you've seen this on movies, and you've seen it in real life on news or whatever. That man eventually can't handle that emotion, and he'll domestic abuse or kill her or whatever.
Wow.
It gets to that point because men, and I hate to say it like this, but sometimes, I'm not gonna say men, sometimes boys don't know how to handle their emotions. It's almost like that. I'm mad at you. We out at the playground. We playing basketball, but because you did something to me, I'm gonna take my ball and I'm going home. That mentality in boys stays there with some people. They don't grow into that man where they can articulate what they're feeling and let them know, look, I don't like the fact that even though I've been wrong to you, I don't like the fact that you're leaving me. Mm-hmm. And that's normally what happens when it's that type of man. He can't just get to that point emotionally to just comprehend and understand. Look, I was the one who was doing it wrong.
Absolutely.
I have no leg to stand on to sit here and be mad at her because
Right.
she decides she wants to finally leave me.
Right. So let me ask, you said it's problematic when you do leave. So then what happens when you have the problem of the fact that the woman has left, in addition or compound where now she's happy in this new relationship?
That's a big slap in the face for him. For men.
I'm having a hard time trying to understand. Someone didn't do you right and you left and you got someone who did. And you're mad?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just do me right so you could have kept me?
Because maybe that just wasn't that person's what they wanted to do. I don't know, background wise how that would work. Mm-hmm. But I know how men think. Men don't think like that.
Men don't think, I have a prize here. Let me treat her well so she never has to leave.
Evidently, he didn't see you as a prize if he walked away from it, or he kept walking away from it. Mm-hmm. Because you know how some men, they see big booties, big things on social media, and they think that's what they want. But then they get that, and it's still not what they want. They keep reaching for something they never ever obtain because nothing will ever satisfy them. Especially if it's, I hate to say it, but if it's a narcissistic individual, you will never be able to satisfy, no matter what they do.
That is so true.
They can have as much money in the world and still will never be happy. They can have the perfect woman and still will never be happy.
Wow.
Their happiness can never be obtained because their mindset is just never mature enough to understand, I did something wrong. If I really want her, I'm going to fix that. But you do something wrong and you continually do it, that lets you know you ain't trying to fix it.
Hello.
And I hate to say it, but ladies, if you have that type of man, you probably need to leave him sooner than later. Don't sit there and try to struggle through something that will never be fixed.
No. And I think also it will cause more damage to you. Staying there, trying to, fix it and hoping that it's going to get better and realizing that it never actually gets better.
But then some women, their self-esteem is just so low, they stick around because I can't get another man. That's their mindset.
Right.
I can't get another man.
But I think also, because I've been in a situation, so I think for myself, speaking on personal experience, I think you also think like, oh, he's going to get better. There's hope. You're hopeful for him.
That's
and a
true.
lot of time women, we try to see exactly. We're fixers. And then we see the best. We try to see the best in a person. Oh, it's not that bad. Or we're in this relationship. I can fix it. I can help him get better. Realizing that you cannot change anybody.
Can't change anybody.
Once you realize that and get a revelation there,
You can't teach an old dog new tricks, as they say.
no, you can't.
And you damn sure can't change a man.
That is so
If a
true.
man's not willing to change himself, I promise you, there's no woman in this world will change a man. When he decides he wants to change, he will change.
Hello.
He will never change a
And you
man.
would spend so much time on the Ferris wheel going around and around and around trying to do that, and you're never going to actually make it happen. Because you cannot. That's true. Yeah. So is Offset wrong for feeling mad and upset?
That's an easy one. Yeah, of course he is. Because I can see if she was the one cheating and it's the opposite way. But evidently he's been the one cheating. So,
But you said that men, it's like in the man's nature. So,
it's in a man's nature, but that don't make it right.
okay. Right.
And the sad part is that's just how society kind of gauges things now. These folks in these entertainment world, I'm not trying to put names out there, but like Neo walking around with 4 different women at one time to stroke what, your ego? Well, you get what from all 4 of these women?
Talk about it.
I'm good. I can't even handle the one across the table from me every single day
Here we go.
because she's more than enough woman for me. I don't need any others.
Absolutely.
So,
But I do give you different women.
yeah, she do got some personalities,
There you go.
and we like to role play too. So, just saying.
You
Sorry,
like-
that's another show. That's another episode.
Which Kiki am I getting today?
Kiki am I getting today? I'm getting freaky Kiki. Gotcha.
Not today.
that's
I'm about to
fine.
get mad, Kiki.
No, I got that one yesterday too. No, I'm just playing. No, but no. So when it comes to a man, it's I want what I want, and I want my cake, and I want to eat this other stuff too. When you already have something, and for me, and this is just me, she's bearing my children. That'd be the last thing on my mind is about trying to get some booty from somebody else. Because evidently she's good enough to have kids with.
Right.
And this ain't like, oh, this is a one night stand. Y'all been married, so y'all having kids knowingly having kids. So you can't sit there and go, well, you know, she just ain't, I'm not attracted to her no more. What?
Maybe he never was.
Maybe he never was. I don't know. And maybe, you know, this is an industry thing, so you know how sometimes it's arranged or it's to appear a certain way when it really ain't that well.
Absolutely. I was able to bag her.
Right.
I think the same thing a little bit for like Jay-Z and Beyonce. And then a lot of people always say, like, in that industry, where else could you go?
Right.
Like a Beyonce couldn't date just a regular old guy. People gonna be like, you're Beyonce. Why are you with this? So she had to go get the next most powerful, I guess in quotes, man.
Couple.
Yeah. In the industry, because how would that have looked?
Right.
So again, like you said, it is about kind of just perception, I think, a lot of the times. So let me ask, recently, I think the most the latest issue, quote unquote, that Offset had was with Cardi B having his son's hair
Look just like Stephanie.
look just like. Explain that as a man. Like, how do you get upset? Like, why is that even something for you to be mad about? You're crashing out about that, but are you crashing out about taking care of your children? Are you there taking your son to basketball games? Are you there taking your son to school?
I don't know.
Are you
I don't know what he's
active in
doing.
their relationship?
I don't know what he's doing, but
So why would that bother you, a hairstyle?
and once again, this is an ego thing. So it's, and I hate to say it like this, so excuse me. They in the room trying to sling and see who got the biggest dick.
Really?
That's what this is for Offset.
But it don't look okay for Offset. So I was gonna say it don't look like that's the case for Stefan.
No, I don't think Diggs is worried about it like that. He's just, you know, I'm vibing with Cardi. I'm good. But for the man who lost what he had, that's how like I said, they don't emotionally know how to handle things. I would say this myself, and I've never been in this situation. But if I'm in this situation, and if I'm the one who's cheating, which in actuality I would never probably do that, but let's say I am. Let's say I'm Offset in this situation. And if she decides she's gone, I've never chased a woman like that. So if a woman don't want to be with me, we're good. I will move on. He just can't seem to move on for whatever reason, whether it be because he thought he could finagle it and do what he did last time and get her back again. I don't know. But when it comes to that, men need to just let it go. Let that woman go.
Right. Release her.
If you got other women, why are you worried about her if you already got other women?
Because clearly they're not satisfying you.
Exactly.
And again, I think it's one of those things, no matter what, you had a woman, or you had the woman that you wanted, you even married her.
But you still want to dibble dab and other things, but then the dibble and dabbling still ain't
It's still not
satisfying.
Yes, I think it goes back to
So what
your
will
initial.
you ever be satisfied?
You never will. You never will.
So just move the hell on.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
She's moved on. You go move on. Do what you want to do. And the sad part is a lot of men do that. They'll try to move on, but that's more so just a show. They'll go find another woman to try to make you jealous.
Realizing you're not
When
even
that's,
phased by
as I said, that's that little boy shit. You doing that little boy stuff that you never grew up from. When you was on the playground, hitting girls because you like them. Just move on.
Move on.
Grow up. Be a man about it. You were wrong. She called your bluff finally.
Hello.
To move the hell on. She's happy where she is. Let her fucking be happy where she is.
Why can't that be?
Because men and their ego.
Even though he still don't want the woman.
Men and their ego.
Wow.
They don't want to see you happy, period. You not with me, so you ain't gonna be happy. You ain't supposed to be happy. Because you not with me.
So any little thing can trigger Offset. So the hairstyle, this hairdo is not really about the hairdo.
It's not. It's about that she has another man. He's in his feelings about why you doing my son hair like his.
You think your son's
when you
hair?
don't know. And maybe the little boy said, oh, I want my hair like his. Then what's wrong with that? If that's what he sees, that's what he's around.
But why is a hairstyle, to me, like, it should be bigger than that. Why does a hairstyle bother you?
Because he's a boy.
Right.
And yeah, I said Offset, you a boy.
Yeah.
That's the truth of the matter. Be a man about it.
Yeah.
You did the wrong stuff. It is what it is. Move on.
Yeah. So you think some men become petty when they see their ex with a new man?
Oh, of course.
Wow. When they don't even want the woman.
When they so-called don't even want the woman, but they don't.
She ain't no good. She can't cook.
But I don't want her with nobody else.
Wow.
If I'm here, she's supposed to be alone. If we not together, she ain't supposed to be with nobody else. They still view that as their property.
Wow. So to me, as a woman, I see that as like, you want control over me.
Yeah.
When I was with you, you didn't treat me well. I left and I'm doing well, and you still want me to be sad and still in that spot. That's crazy. And that's giving someone the power of you and over you, which is insane to me.
But that's normally what happens. The women will allow them to keep coming back. How many times have you seen stories? Oh, we broke up 10 times. Why exactly would you get back with the same dude that's doing wrong to you 10 times? And I know we talked about forgiveness last week, but there ain't that much forgiveness in the world.
Right.
You are listening to another episode of All in Our Business podcast.
Absolutely.
That's just kind of being stupid. And I hate to say it like that, but that's just kind of being stupid to allow this man who you can see has not changed his ways, but you continue to let him back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I think also sometimes women, we have to think higher of ourselves and realize that you are the prize. And when you go into a relationship with that type of confidence and you set that standard for yourself, you're not allowing any Joe to come around and just treat you any and every other way. I've seen that pattern. I've seen what that looks like.
And I'm going to say this from the man perspective, because we're talking about Cardi and Offset, but there's even women who do that. They'll have a good man, and it's just not what they think it should be. Well, we was reading on Instagram or something the other day, watching a video, and this lady just said, I was talking to this nice guy. We were vibing, everything was going well, but she just felt like she needed more. So she was looking for something else. So she let this good man go just to go out and start getting in the streets and start dating again. And then she realized, no, that's what I really wanted. He does all of this stuff for me. He does this. And these other dudes that I'm meeting, they just out for one thing. This dude actually loves me and is trying to do things for me to make my life better. But because I feel a certain kind of way that maybe this is not my ideal man, that's a problem. I don't know what your ideal person is, because you don't know what God has designed for you. You could have been walking with your designed person the whole time, and because you looking for 6'4", 220, can lift me over my head, make 8 figures. You ain't gonna find that in one man. I promise you. You will not find everything you're looking for in one man.
I found everything I'm looking for.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So you can. All things are possible.
Well, that's because
God gave
we
me
soulmates,
so that's
baby.
true.
We soulmates.
Yes.
But you never know there's nice dudes out there who are, I just can't talk to him. He's just too nice.
Right. So that's what I was going to say. The problem was in that particular scenario was that the lady felt as if he's treating me too good. There must be something else going on. There must be something else.
She was, used to the toxic relationship.
She was used to the guys not taking care of her, not doing things. And I will also say, because you and I have had these open conversations before, that I would also be like, hold on, you doing this, babe? You doing?
Right.
I was kind of shocked by what I was seeing because that's not how I was treated before. But what I will say is that after time, you constantly doing the same exact thing. I was like, okay, this is in your character. This is how you are.
As they say, you stay around somebody long enough, they'll show you who you are.
They'll show you your true person. Absolutely. So I think for her, she was used to guys just using her for her body, or because she had three different baby daddies or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, not that we're judging. I'm just saying she's used to different things from different guys that probably weren't the right thing. So when you got this nice guy that come around and he was treating her so well, she like, what? You mean to tell me I got sick, you coming over here, you taking care of me, and you doing this, and you bringing me this, and you
taking care of my kids?
Yeah, and she was just
not
like,
yours?
exactly. She was like, oh no, this is too good to be true. But I think sometimes users, people that want to use people, they're like, well, hold on, you doing this for me, this I want you to keep doing more. And sometimes, unfortunately, those women that have been in those toxic relationships, they sometimes become damaged.
They do.
And they become accustomed to just wanting that. So when a good guy come around and a good guy like, girl, I just want to love on you, I just want to show you how you're supposed to be treated, sometimes we're at that phase that we're damaged, that we can't even
accept You sabotage it yourself.
your own self. Yeah. And then you have another layer where, like you said before, it don't meet your criteria. So many women have these criteria. I want the guy to look this, and I want him to do this, and I want him to do that. And you're out here looking for that, but you want this character inside of that particular person. And God is like, this is not the shell that I have for you. Yeah.
God is all for you. Been knocking on your door,
Absolutely.
Coming to cut the grass and do stuff for you.
Absolutely. That's who I want
But you keep ignoring him.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you wonder why you can't be with anybody.
Right.
Or I go in these relationships and it won't work and it won't, because that's not who God has for you. But I think you also got to be thankful because he's protecting you from whatever that person is trying to bring to you.
Right.
Because that's not for you. So for me, the biggest thing is, and even before you and I, became official and started dating, I would just pray to God because I knew that I was coming out of a divorce and it was bad. Then I just wanted to pray to ask God to show me and direct me to the person that was for me. So I think that's most important, to make sure that you're just connected with God so he can show you and direct your path. Because we want so much stuff for ourselves, but his way is ultimately the best way. Yeah.
You can take that long road if you want to.
Yeah. Listen.
So let me ask you this. So should Cardi B not have moved on? Is there guilt in moving on?
Sometimes there can be guilt in moving on. It can be. I think because she's a mom, you sometimes have mom guilt, right? Okay. Your children's been used to having their father around, and you want the best, or you want them to have their dad still, and that's all they've been accustomed to. So you may feel guilt for that. You may feel guilt. Definitely, she's in the public, so the public eye. I'm not necessarily in the public eye, but I do understand your family and friends, their opinions can definitely, impact your decision sometimes, especially if you're not strong-minded to be able to make your own decision. So you can have guilt from that. Your parents saying, oh, we've been together for 50 years. That ain't what we do in our house. Right? Or religion may tell you you don't supposed to leave and you're not supposed to get a divorce. So you can have a lot of reasons to carry on guilt. Or the guilt of, as a mom or as a woman, I've always been in this place and I'm used to this man and it's okay for me to be sad. At least my children aren't sad. Or at least we don't think that they are. Not realizing that children see more than what you think they really do.
Definitely.
So oftentimes you think you're sheltering them, and most of the time they see and they know before you can even say anything. So your words need to.
I wasn't gonna be together.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or I knew something was off. Or I feel better now that you've moved on. So again, I do think it's guilt. However, based upon the scenario, and of course I'm never going to be an advocate to say should somebody move on or should they not. That's based upon that person and how much a person has been able to tolerate. So it's up to each individual person. But I would say to any woman or any man, if it's enough, if it's too much for you and you're not seeing any improvements and it's mentally bothering you and draining you and causing you issues, you have to move on for your own sanity. Because before you can save them kids, before you can save the church, before you can save anybody, you got to save yourself first.
That's true.
So if it's taking a mental toll on you and really causing harm to you, you need to go. That's my only advice that I would ever give a person.
So is there a time frame for moving on? Because I know for me, and I'm not divorced. My wife passed, and I know probably within maybe 6 to 9 months, maybe people started asking me, "You think you're gonna ever date again?"
I would not have thought people would ask that soon.
People were asking that, and
so for me, you didn't date right then and there.
I didn't date. It was probably a year and a half maybe before I started dating.
Okay.
So I never even thought about it like that. I was grieving, but I was to the point where I was just kind of living my life, being a father for the boys.
Okay.
And that thought process never even popped into my head. And like I said, people would ask all the time. So you think you'll ever date again? And, most of the time it was women asking that. So for me,
hold up, wait a minute.
Just being honest.
Who were they? Tell me.
I'm not putting no names out there. So I didn't. I was kind of leery, and it's funny because my good friend of mine, shout out to my boy Palmer, he literally, and I think we were going to a football game. We were going to Penn State football game, Maryland Penn State. So we were, in the car for a good couple of hours just driving. And he actually said this to me, and he said, "You know what?" He said, "You'll be surprised. There are going to be some women that's going to try to talk to you that was friends with your wife. That's exactly what Palmer said. He said, because they saw how you treated her, and they think, oh, if he treated her like that.
Well, let me put them on standby right now.
You think I put them on standby, baby?
Oh.
Let me put that out there. We good. I'm one woman. I'm
Yeah,
good.
wait.
And
I
she
know that
across
part.
the
It's
table
not
from me.
about you. I'm just saying, no matter how
Don't
good you see
represent.
him treating me, even if something happened to me, don't come after him because
Oh, Lord.
I'll come up out the ground and make sure.
I better be single for the rest of my life, or she gonna come back and slap them heifers.
All of
All that.
So if you see how well he treat me, just take note and find your man to treat you the same way, okay? Don't come after
Stop
him
that.
now.
But no, so for me,
I'm just teasing.
for
but
me,
I'm serious.
I never put a time frame on it. And I don't think you can put a time frame on when you move on.
No.
They can somebody can say, well, maybe maybe 4 years, 5 years from now, you should. No, I've had people getting their feelings about it. Like I wasn't ready for you to move on.
People were in their feelings about you
Me moving on.
Wow.
Like, what did you expect me to do?
Where were they at? They're moving.
I don't know where they're moving.
They need to work about that.
I don't know where they're moving. But you're not going to tell me or control what I do. So
Right.
And a lot of times, I just kind of, that's nice, but I'm going to be me.
You're going to be you. So let me ask you, how could you feel, or when did you know you were ready to move on?
I actually honestly, I did not know.
You just felt like you need to.
No.
Okay.
And I hate to share this story, but I kind of fell into this, and I hate to use that word, but no, seriously. So stop, man. So when I didn't go out with the intent to start dating. That wasn't the intent. I was hanging out with an old friend, and it turned into something more than just a friendship for that brief moment that we were kind of talking.
What did it turn into?
It turned into something physical, but I wasn't looking for that. So at that time, I was just, I guess in my mind, maybe I'm just an old friend. We just chop it out, talk, no biggie, nothing, no strings attached, nothing. And it became more than that. And for me, I think that was the eye opener when I realized, okay, maybe I can get back out there and start dating.
Okay, so that was good.
It was good.
Yeah,
it was good.
It was a good takeaway.
It was a good.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I might not have been dating for a while. I'm not for sure. Because like I said, I never thought about it like that. And I always would tell the kids, I'm not going to start dating, or you're not going to see me dating until it's somebody I'm serious with or comfortable bringing around you. So.
Right.
They never met that person.
Right. Okay. That's good.
So
it wasn't meant for them to.
Yeah, it probably wasn't. Maybe not. I don't know. I can't,
God told me. So yeah.
So what about you?
For me, that's what I was going to say. For me, I think, well, number one, you definitely cannot put a time frame on when to move on. Because literally something can happen in one moment, and the very next moment it can be eye-opening to you, and you're just like, oh my goodness, the feelings that I felt before, I no longer feeling like this is the best thing ever. I don't know what has happened, because you just never know the path that God has for you. So I would never block my blessings, and I really honestly feel with you, us crossing paths and everything, and us being together was a blessing. And I could have easily, because when we were together, I was still healing, and I was still going through a lot of the healing process, I would say, from my previous relationship. So I didn't want that to, and I would tell you, I would be like, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet, because I didn't want it to interfere with what we had or what we could have created, but you always was a friend to me and constantly helping me through that process. But what if I had turned and said, oh God, no, I need to wait 4 or 5 years after getting a divorce before I can even move on. I even never talk to you. I probably never would have been healed.
Right.
Or went through the process in which I had to go through, and went through just so much, and that God wanted me to go through if I had just closed my eyes and shut the door to that. So to me, I don't feel like there's ever a time frame. I feel like you need to do what you feel is best. And even if you feel like it's best at that moment and later on you realize it wasn't best, that's fine.
That's right.
Life is a lesson. Just live it, to enjoy the lessons and endure it. Because ultimately, you're going if you keep going through this long enough, you're going to end up where God wants you to end up. Especially if you keep seeking.
He like, you keep going down that road. I'm telling you to go this way. Exactly. But you keep going. I'm going to get you over there eventually.
And we've kind of talked about that in the first few episodes of the podcast where I kept saying, no, I'm not trying to do this. And God was like, this is where you're going. This is where you're going. And I said, no, Lord, I'm not going that way. And he kept saying, what? This is where you're going.
Right.
And I literally...
I'm taking the wheel. Got you.
TC will tell you, I literally was telling him all these... We had like 5 or 6 plans, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And we went through all the plans and God kept saying, no. Then when we got to what we call it, we tease each other and we say plan Z.
Plan Z. We're not always to the end of the alphabet.
So we exhausted all the options just for me to be where God wanted me to be in the first place. Mm-hmm. If I had just submitted and to him and just said, okay, you know what? Yes,
go
Lord.
ahead and try this, Lord.
I am, because that's what you have for me. Mm-hmm. So again, there's never a time frame you can put on moving on. Mm-mm. You need to go with your heart. You need to definitely, number one, I will always say, is seek God first, because he's going to get you to where he wants you to be.
Right. And he'll open the door if you're not expecting it to open it.
Oh, he really will.
That's what he wants you to do. That's where he wants you to go. That's what you're going to do.
You're going there. Yeah. And in my path, on my path of healing, I learned just so much more about myself. And I had you as a friend, like truly my best friend, to be there with me side by side, to just give me the support that I needed. Of course, you did way more than that. You definitely helped me in so many other ways, but I needed that support, and I didn't have that. Right. And if I had, again, said, no, I'm not going to go with this because I got to wait 4 years. Somebody on some piece of paper said 5 years before I move on.
5 years before you should move on from a divorce.
Exactly. I probably still would have been in my sunken spot, just sitting there. And then my thing is, life still goes on.
It does.
Unfortunately, I lost my brother many years ago, and I remember one pivotal element that I learned from that was that the very next day, after losing him on a Sunday, the very next day, Monday, my children were still knocking at the door. Mommy, get up.
Right.
We need you.
You gotta go to school.
Yeah. We want to eat. And I'm like, I just lost my brother. Like, he was my son.
Right.
You still want me to do blah, 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 blah. So I say that to say at that age and years ago, I had learned that life goes on. You got to keep living this thing. I can't still stay there.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I still stayed in the hurt and the pain and everything else that
it's just gonna eat at you.
that I had in a divorce 2 or 3 years ago, 4 years ago, whatever, I'll still be in that spot. Yeah. Why?
Yeah.
Instead of moving on and being happy, living life every day, finding somebody to do it with me and enjoying this thing that we call life together. And it's been amazing.
It has. Like when when my wife passed, I think I might have took a week off from work.
Right.
But, okay, I'm back at work. The boys still playing sports. I still had to pay the mortgage. I still had to do all the other things.
You can't call the bill collector and say, my
wife passed. I mean, I can, but they will be like, okay. Bill due tomorrow.
Rushmore said, we'll note the account, but the due
tomorrow. So I had to move on. Now I wasn't, moving on with the intent of, I completely forgot about it. No. I just got to keep living because that's what happens.
That's very true.
And the Bible says, let the dead bury the dead. You still alive. You got to live.
And it talks about the season of, grieving too. Yeah. I think we went to we went to church and your pastor was literally giving us a scripture on, and the whole service was kind of predicated to, there was a time to heal, but he said, get up. It was a time to grieve, but to get up. Yeah. You can't stay, what did he say, on your rusty dusty?
Get off your rusty dusty. Shout out to Pastor Whitlock.
So even in that, you're reminded that you can't stay in those moments. You can definitely learn from them and definitely keep the memory of the person that you have with you, but ultimately, life goes on.
Okay.
So we have to make sure that we move accordingly as well. But how do you handle, because I know you started off by saying people were telling you, so how do you handle the criticism, if you want to call it, or the backlash, or I don't know the proper wording, but
just somebody. And you can handle it in multiple ways. The type of person I am, and people who know me will say, okay, you can tell Tennille whatever you want. If he don't want to do it, he just ain't gonna do it. So that's me. But you might be one of those people where you get angry and have an attitude with that person for having that opinion. That's you. That's you. That's how you handle it. That's you.
Right.
Or if you want to sit down and tell them, look, this is my life. You can't intervene in it.
Right.
That's you.
Right.
However you feel comfortable talking to that person.
Right.
For
That's
me,
true.
I'm more so. I'm not gonna waste my breath and waste my time because you got an opinion. Because your opinion ain't gonna change my thought process.
Or my actions.
Now, don't get me wrong. I will hear you. But if that's some bull that you telling me, okay. Yeah, that's
So what if
bull.
one of your friends walked up to you and said, "Hey, TC, I have a problem with the fact that you moved on, pretty much."
Okay.
I would have thought that you would have been kind of like how I was, or how one of my friends were, and they never moved on after losing their spouse.
Okay, that's nice, but I'm not them. One, I'm young. I'm not no old, like, my wife died and I'm 65. Yeah, I might not move on. I might just kind of chill in the house and just do things. I'm 40. I'm in my 40s. I still got a lot of life ahead of me. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to walk around and be miserable all the time. I don't want. Who wants to live like that?
Right.
Nobody wants to live walking around miserable. Nobody wants to walk around alone.
So do you think people will sometime interject their opinions?
They will.
On you?
And think, oh, just because that's how I feel, that's how you supposed to feel. No.
Or because they saw that
But
that's
then,
what...
but then and I've had to tell a couple of friends this. Okay, I understand you're sad, you miss her, but how do you think I feel? I have to deal with it every day. After she died, I had to deal with it every single day, and I still have to kind of deal with it every single day. It might not be to the magnitude when it first happened,
Right.
but I still have to deal with my wife dying and not being here anymore every single day. And I see it all the time. I see it in just facial expressions my kids make. I see her in that. How do you think that makes me feel knowing she's not here anymore?
Right.
So you telling me something in your own opinion and you've never experienced it? I'm not really listening to that. It sounds nice, but I'm not really listening to that because you don't know how that feels.
That's true.
You can't sit there and say, "Well, I wouldn't have. I'd probably still be single." That's you. I can't live like that. You don't know how it feels to get up. You don't know how. Let me just say this. You don't know how it feels to have somebody who literally for the last 20 plus years have been in the bed beside you, and you woke up to that person every morning, and then that next morning after they pass, they're no longer there. That space is just so empty. And Kiki will tell you, I lay, and I still do this from time to time, I lay diagonally across my bed. And I don't know if that's because I'm used to when she was there. I lay diagonally across my bed almost to take up that space where she's not there.
Absolutely.
And you don't know how that feels because you never lost your spouse. Not saying you, but I'm just saying people who have an opinion. You don't know how that feels because you never lost a spouse.
Right.
Especially if it's a younger person. What are you going to tell me? What exactly are you going to tell me? You've experienced nothing in your life. And you say, well, if that was me, I wouldn't date no more. Okay. Talk to me when you lose a spouse. And then you're going to be, okay.
Right.
Like, I had let me put this out here. So, and it's funny because just some of how I was just saying when people don't understand things and experience. So, there was an issue. There was an issue when my brother got married. We went to Michigan for the wedding. And, of course, at the time he didn't have any kids. And his soon-to-be wife was having an issue with us bringing our kids to the wedding. Even though the kids were in the wedding, but she didn't want them at the reception. Because she had no intent for kids being at the reception, which is fine. That's understandable. And my wife kind of had an issue with it. Or my late wife kind of had an issue with it. And she was like, I'm not just leaving my kids with just anybody. And now that my brother has kids and him and his wife have kids, they kind of have that same thing. But at that time, she didn't have any kids, so she couldn't understand how my wife felt. And of course, me and my brother was just trying to, look, it's not a big deal. We men, so we just trying to just mesh it out. Y'all got the issue. We good. He was like, I'm good with my nephews being there. I don't have a problem with it. But they was kind of clashing. But truth be told, now that you have kids, you kind of operate the same way at that time my late wife was feeling.
Right. So I think you're saying that until you experience
Until you get to experience it, you can't tell me nothing.
You can't tell anybody what to do.
Now, I can talk to somebody else who's lost their a spouse or something.
Right.
Because they can relate. They can go, well, this is how I did it. And I would take that But I'm not taking it from somebody who hasn't experienced it. I'm just not doing it. I'm sorry. So I'm moving on. I'm moving on.
I understand. I mean, the same thing. I would hear people say, we've been married for this amount of time, so divorce is not an option. And then literally frown on me for divorce.
Right.
And
but if I stay in this marriage, I might not be around long.
Hello, or the person may not. I might be in jail.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the two. One of the two.
And I think
like you would tell me, you were like, I would be stressed.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I had such a heavy burden.
Yeah,
Nobody
definitely.
wants to experience that. You know,
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a healthy, happy marriage. You don't want to be experiencing that.
And I'm not going to say.
And I'm sorry if I'm sharing too.
Oh, no, you're perfectly fine.
Okay.
What I was going to say was that I'm not saying that you're not in it for the long haul,
Right.
or you're not in it because it says, do bad,
thick and
thick and thin, better or worse.
Better or worse.
So I'm not saying even the worst spots I'm not there, but when it's deeper than worse, or the next level or worse, it's like
when
no,
you down in the pits of hell.
Yeah. I didn't sign up for that. Or then again, when both people just decide that it's just time is up,
time, right.
it's fine. And I think that moment taught me what I learned most about that is that it's okay to not always think that what you want is where you're going to always be, because things change. You have to be able to be adaptable and flexible, and that's fine. If things just don't work, it just don't work.
It don't work.
I'm not going to stay in something that's literally killing me,
Right.
because I'm not going to be good for anybody.
Right.
Then rather me to say, let me get the courage, and I'm going to have to get up out this relationship because it's just not serving me anymore.
Right. If you're having health issues
Yeah.
over.
So when it's too much to handle, yeah, you're just like, no, absolutely not. So again, that was a life lesson to me. And then also I wanted my children to see the importance of having courage to be able to move on. And not even with a relationship, but with anything that's just not serving you well.
Right.
It can be at a job. If the job is killing you, it's not, you should not be there. If a house is killing you, you too stressed out because of everything that's going on with the house and everything, you don't need to be there. Because ultimately what's most important is saving yourself. And for you to be in a healthy...
can't do nothing from the grave.
You cannot.
You can't do nothing from the grave.
Cannot. So that is so important. I think in life, like, you look around and society just teach you, these people been at this job for 40 years, or we've been married for 50 years, or this has been this and this has been that. But it's also at the detriment of your own self. You're about to die.
Right. You've been miserable for years.
You've been miserable. And it's okay to be accommodating at times, because you have to be. And we talk about that in a relationship as well. That sometimes it's not always 50-50. I'm going to have to do more than you, and then vice versa. So it's not saying that you're not willing to put in the work. But when you are the only person constantly working and it's killing you, then you just need to be like, oh, no, I just can't do this anymore. And nothing's wrong with that.
No, not at all.
So I will say for myself, I had to deal with the looks and the behind the back conversations, because nobody ever tell you in your face, because they too scared. They ain't gonna tell you in your face, because my number always been the same, and ain't nobody ever called me to tell me, but they would like to whisper behind your back and say things. But
so let me ask you this: so what are some helpful tips to move on?
Helpful tips is number one for me: pray. Pray. Definitely meditate. That truly helped me. They always say, exercise is so good because it just releases, so many of the chemical imbalances that you have and things. So I would say if that's what you want to do, definitely take that path. Don't suppress your emotions. That was important, because remember when you and I got together, I would do a lot of that, because that was a residual, if you want to call it.
And it was funny. I hate to cut off,
sure.
But for me, when my wife passed, and I think I've told you this, I would go outside and shoot baskets for hours upon hours, because that was my release. Basketball was my release. So I would go outside and shoot, and it'd be a lot of times I would take the kids to school, come home, and I would just go out in the backyard and shoot baskets for hours. And whatever emotion I felt, I just let it out.
Yeah.
So if I felt like crying, if I felt like screaming, if I felt like yelling, whatever I felt, I did it.
Yep.
But I did it through something that I loved. To kind of get over it. So that was my release. Basketball was my release.
That's good.
So you got to find what your release is. Whatever comforts you to deal with moving on.
You have to.
You have to
For
find
me, I really was I was always deep into church, but I really was deeper into church. And I would go to church and have those same emotions. If I felt like crying, I would just let out a cry. If I felt like praising and running and just giving God glory, I was able to do that. The same thing, I would often go, at that time I was going to the gym like at the nighttime, so nobody was at the gym. In the same way, if I felt this emotion, I expressed it. I let it out. I would go out and I would walk sometimes. So if I wanted to scream, I would just scream and just get it out. But what I did know was in it all, you had to rebound. You couldn't stay in that emotion. And I would give myself...
You gotta forgive yourself too.
Oh, you gotta forgive yourself. You have to.
Sometimes you think, oh man, I'm the reason, or oh man, I shouldn't have did this.
And let me tell you, I'm a person, I'm an overthinker, right? So I had to forgive myself because I was holding on to the pain that I couldn't just release because I was like, you know what? I could have stayed.
Maybe
I was always
maybe I could have did this and it would have changed. Or maybe I could have did that
always.
and it would have changed.
There
was nothing you could do.
There was absolutely nothing you could do. You could be hanging on
you could have been Jesus and probably not fixed it.
Exactly. So sometimes you just have to understand. And it takes a lot of courage to walk away. I don't think people talk about that.
It takes
a lot of courage to walk away and to choose yourself.
And I commend you for that because
Thank you.
Of course, I was on that journey with you, so I know exactly, the rough nights that you had, the days you just didn't want to get up and didn't want to do anything. I saw all of that.
Absolutely.
And for you to be where you are now, I commend you for your strength.
Thank you, sweetheart.
As I always tell you all the time, you're stronger than you know.
You do tell me that. But I told God, I'm not listen.
Not this year. I'm tired of it.
I'm tired of it, Lord. Like, I'm not on that strong list no more. Like,
take me out. I'm tired of being a warrior.
I've proven myself now, Lord. Next year, let it be a good year. I'm speaking it in advance, Father.
So let me ask you one more question before we get to the quickie.
Sure.
How do you handle your ex-family after the relationship is over? If there is bitterness or disappointment, or they feel like you are the reason?
That's a good question. So for me, I don't think anything has changed with my ex and the family dynamics. We're still kind of the same way that we were before. We're very still cordial. If we see each other, we still speak. There's no malice and there's it's none of that. Absolutely nothing at all. And maybe it's because of the time frame. It's been some time, so everybody's been able to kind of deal with their own emotions on each side. But ultimately, for me as well, we both came to the agreement that this was the best option for us at that time. And I think my ex, he will tell you, I don't think he told you, but he's told me and the kids that he's the happiest he's ever been.
Decision.
So because he's very happy now, and I'm definitely happy as well.
She had a big old smile on her face.
A huge smile. So you can So because of that, you're at a good spot. So I'm definitely at a good spot, and I'm happy that he is as well, because I never wanted to hold anyone back. So in making that decision, I'll just say this while we're talking about it. In making that decision, I had to tell him, this is not what it is. This is not what you want. And you can tell when that's not what a person wants, right? So just relieve yourself from it so you can be happy. So again, he's happy, and because I'm happy, there's no need for anybody else to be upset about anything.
Right.
Now, we're going to have our moments in that journey, right?
Very true.
Because we're still co-parenting, so we have those exchanges. But ultimately, if you're good and whatever, and I'm in a healthy relationship, I'm flourishing and I feel extremely happy and I am very content, so I'm good. So there's no issues that I had with the ex-family. Now, some of the ex-family that I've kind of dealt with on maybe social media or something like that, I would still say cuz to some of them.
Okay.
So
on that, that's actually, let's get to the quickie then, since you want to bring that up.
Okay.
So what do you call your ex family or your ex after the relationship is over or after you lose a partner, in my case?
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Because it's kind of a touchy subject.
It is.
Because I know for me, I didn't look at it as a touchy subject.
Okay, but hold on.
Go ahead.
Repeat the quickie again so we can make sure
the quickie
we're clear.
is, what do you call your ex-spouse and his or her family after the divorce or when you lose a partner?
Okay, so we're talking about titles.
Talking about titles.
Okay, after the relationship has ended. Whether it was through divorce or whether it's through death.
And I'll give you an example why I'm asking this question. So, of course, my parents are divorced, but my mother's side of the family still refers to my father as their son-in-law.
I'm sorry, say what?
I didn't stutter. My my mother's side of the family still refers to my father as their son-in-law sometimes.
Okay, but your mother has remarried.
But my mother has remarried.
So what do they call?
They call him, same thing. He's the new son-in-law, I guess you want to call it.
They've been married for 7 years
It's like
now?
7 years. But,
Okay, so do they call him that? Do they call your father, which is her ex-husband, do they call him that when her current husband
family
is
members
there?
say, oh, he's still my son-in-law.
Yeah, to say that's still my son-in-law, that's one thing. But to call him the son-in-law, when he's around, do they be like, hey, son-in-law, and then both men are looking?
They'll call him his name. They don't call him they don't call my stepfather that now.
Okay, so they go by names when they see the person. But when they're talking about the person.
They've said that in reference.
Okay, I mean, if they feel comfortable with it, that's fine. To me, to each his own.
Okay.
That's how I feel. Because I've heard over the weekend, I was talking to some ladies, and they were saying that some women were saying that they're stepmoms to kids, and they don't allow their kids that are their stepkids to call them mom because you only have one mother.
Gotcha.
But the kids was like, but my mom is not around for whatever reason or whatever, and I feel comfortable calling you that. And they're like, no, you don't call me mom because you only have one mom.
Right.
Or you can call me mama such and such. Or you can say mom, but it shouldn't be mom. And I was like, I don't understand why that's the problem, because if the child feels comfortable enough to calling you whatever they want to call you, as long as it's not derogatory, then I don't see anything wrong with that. But they were like, no, that's absolutely not. So I think it just, for me, it depends on what is agreed upon in the family.
Gotcha.
That's what I would say. When you and I get married, my family's not going to be saying, hey, son-in-law, and then also to my ex, if he happened to drop the kids off, oh, that's son-in-law outside. No, that's not. That's not son-in-law.
That's his name.
Yeah. That's who he is.
Him outside.
He's
Him outside.
Him is outside. Him is here. Okay? So we're going to have, in our family, we're going to make sure that's very clear.
Okay.
But to some people, they probably be like, my son-in-law, and maybe it just depends on the relationship still.
I mean, they still check on him. They still talk to him. It's not like there's any animosity.
Right. But I think you also will want to check with the current husband and ask the current husband how would that make him feel.
Gotcha.
So let's say, for example, when somebody in my family was saying to my ex, hey, son-in-law, my parents, hey, son-in-law, and you were right there. I'm like, Mom, Dad, nah, that's not your son-in-law. This is your son-in-law. But if they say, oh, you know what, my fault, I'm just so programmed because y'all been married for so long to saying that, that's one thing.
Right.
Yeah, but they didn't call them that before, so you're not going to just start doing that now. Because I feel like you're trying to be smart into doing that. So that's a problem.
Gotcha.
So we're not going to have any problems here.
Gotcha.
And then secondly, I would come to you and ask you, babe, I know they still call him son-in-law because they've just been doing that for forever. If that was the case, I'm just saying.
Does that bother you?
Does that bother you? How does that make you feel?
No, that don't bother me at all.
Right. Well, a lot of things don't bother you, but to some people it do bother. So I would want
that's true.
Yeah, I would want you to feel comfortable. And if you said that that's problematic to you, then I will go back and say, hey, don't call him.
Don't call him.
Yeah. Kind of like when I was asking you, my kids still, they like to be respectful, so they like to call you Mr. TC or Mrs. Your real name or whatever. And then it's like, I was like, okay, are you okay with that? You're like, oh no, I don't really care. I don't really care.
Whatever they call me.
Yeah, you do say that.
So, I don't take it, I don't take it to heart. I don't take it, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
It's a sign of respect for me.
Yeah,
it really is. Because I know they'll call me when they need me.
Yeah.
And that's more important than what they call me.
Right, yeah, you're not caught up in that.
No,
right.
no.
But I don't want people for me to call people something that they're not.
Right.
If he's no longer a son-in-law or whatever in-law, he's not. So that you don't need to confuse anybody by saying that.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Okay, so what is your answer?
What you mean? I already answered, babe.
Okay, so you did yours. Okay, and I did mine. So I think we're good.
We're good. You sure, baby?
I think so. I think we had a question. It was something to the effect of like, so let me ask, for your late wife, do you still call her cousin's cuz?
I do.
Okay. Yeah, because I was saying I do the same thing with my ex. Like his cousins, like if they send something on Instagram or something, like, okay, cuz, thank you, happy birthday, cuz.
Like a lot of them are just recently up because, my late wife's mother, who from time to time I still call her my mother-in-law, had a 80th birthday celebration. So a lot of her family was up here, some from South Carolina and some from other places. So, and I haven't seen, I don't think I've seen since she passed.
Okay.
So, they had some emotions at the party pertaining to my ex-wife, my late wife. But I didn't take it any kind of way because, you know, you are who you are. If you feel that way, you feel that way.
What were the emotions?
It was a lot of crying. It was some emotions, you know, expressing how they met
Okay.
certain people through her and things like that.
Okay.
Which is fine. It is what it is. But when it comes to me and me moving on, I can't stay in that place because she hasn't been here in 4 years. Am I supposed to be stagnant and just kind of...
So do you think any are mad at you for moving on?
I would hope not. But, you know, as you said, they're not going to come up and just tell me that.
Okay.
Because they know the type of person I am. You're not going to sit there and tell me that.
Why not?
Because I'm like, why are you in my business, first of all? And I know
This is all in our business podcast,
right, but no, that's a different kind of business. You trying to control and tell me what to do is just not going to rock. I'm a man. That ain't going to rock with me.
But sometimes there are family and friends, babe, that haven't been able to see you, not just you, but a person that they've been used to seeing together, whether it's through divorce or through death, no longer be with that person anymore. And they still like, I always thought it was going to be y'all. Like, I've heard people tell me the same thing.
But the person's not here.
Babe,
I can understand if maybe the person's still here and you think, oh, maybe they might get back together. She's not coming back.
Okay, so then in my scenario, people are like, I'm always used to seeing y'all two together, so I can't accept you being with another man.
That's their opinion. That's similar to what's going on with Offset and probably his family.
Oh, my Lord.
That's just the truth of the matter. But you can't let people control you.
Why can't people just accept what they need to accept? Like, why do you even need to accept something that's not in your, like, that's of your business?
Because
why does that matter?
Some people are just kind of nosy and they want to be in everybody's business.
Wow.
And that's just true. That's like the Mama Pearl sitting on the porch looking outside the window with everything's going on the street. She got all the tea.
Right.
Until that bullet comes through the window and then she ain't got the tea no more.
So what advice would you give those people that are all up in the wrong business when they want to tell people, well, I still see you with your ex, or I can't see you beyond anybody but that person?
That's good for you. No, certainly, that's good for you. I understand how you feel, but you can't make me feel that way. I am my own person. I've always been my own person.
Do you owe them an explanation?
I don't owe them anything. I really don't. Now, if we want to sit down and chat and have a conversation about it, yeah, that's fine. But you just automatically bringing it and having your opinion and thinking that's supposed to be what it's supposed to be? Nah, that's not a conversation.
Wow.
We can sit down and have a conversation. I'll go, well, you know, I will explain to you all the stuff I had to deal with. And then maybe you'll go, oh,
if I was
never seen
it. Right.
Yeah, I understand that.
Right.
But if you never experienced it, you don't know what that feels like.
But why do I have to sit down and tell you what I have
I shouldn't have to. Right. I shouldn't have to, but I'm that type of person. If you want to sit down and talk to me, we can talk.
Yeah, you love talking.
But as I said, 9 times out of 10, that type of person is not going to come directly to me. They might go around the corner, maybe say something to my mom, or say something to you maybe even, or somebody else that's close to me. But they're not going to direct it to me because they know that's to them. Just gonna be like, okay, that's good for you. I'm sorry to hear that.
And it rolls off your shoulder.
It rolls right off my shoulder. Brush it right off. I ain't got no problem with that. Life is life.
Right.
I've experienced life enough. I've lost enough people in my life that were close to me to know I don't know what tomorrow's promised. I don't know what's going to happen. So why am I going to sit there and worry about your opinion?
That's facts. That's good.
So I'm not taking that with me.
So what do you say to the people that said they can't accept you or they can't accept me because we have moved on?
Well, I'm glad I don't have to wake up beside you.
Oh, God.
Or as my pastor used to say, Pastor Washington, shout out to Pastor Washington, build a bridge and get over it.
Wow.
Straight facts. Just build a bridge and get over it. I can't do that now, so I think we probably should end the show on that.
We're gonna
build a bridge and get over it.
So you're feeling a certain type of way. What is it?
Offset, build a bridge, get over it. Anybody else mad because they woman or they man that moved on, build a bridge and get over it.
Do a better job next time of keeping your partner so you don't have to.
You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to feel this way.
Yeah.
Build a bridge and just get over it.
That's it.
Straight facts.
Yeah. And if you can't take your ex moving on, you need to do the same thing.
Yep. Build a bridge.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Yeah, definitely. You got to be mature.
You have to be extremely mature.
Sometimes you take L's. What Kev OG say? You take L's to get a W. I don't know if you can get a W ever again, but hey.
Hey, you can.
Okay. Okay. Well, hit it with the outro.
Wow. Once again, thank you for listening to another episode of All in Our Business Podcast. Be sure to tune in next week. Because we got something else for y'all.
What is it,
Roles and responsibilities in relationships.
Lord have mercy.
You know she gonna have me here vacuuming,
I am.
cutting grass.
You should be doing that anyway.
What she gonna be doing?
Whatever you ask me
Go
to
to fix
do.
my dinner.
Oh, I can fix your dinner.
No, you
And
can't.
dessert.
I gotta cook that.
Oh, well, you should cook that.
See?
Yeah.
So where your role at? I gotta cut the grass and cook dinner?
Sometimes you do.
I don't know. I don't know. That's starting to be a red flag.
You too deep
I'm
there.
doing that traditional role. Get in that kitchen.
I ain't
Matter of
saying
fact, I want you to keep doing it.
See, here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, next week. Next
Next
We
week.
ain't talking
Roles
like
and
this.
responsibilities, people. Thank you again for listening in. We out.
Peace.
Peace.